Hello friends, my name is Arith Härger, and today I'm going to talk about the origins of the gods.
Second part?
Well, yes.
What?
Nothing.
It's about bloody time!
Well, yes, you are quite right, Mr. Thorstein. I was hitting the wall pretty hard, so I needed some vacations. Also, Mr. Tico here has been quite ill lately, and we wasn't able to perform his acting skills for my videos. Don't be fooled. He seems quiet now and a well-educated cat, but that's for the videos. In truth, this little fellow is a menace. But now I have returned from vacations, and here I am to make the second part of this subject.
Well, you weren't beast!
Yeah, well. Anyway, in the previous video I received some feedback, and I would like to start this video from there. In the previous video I said that Angerboda was Loki's wife, so there came the question, isn't Sigyn Loki's wife? And well, yes, Sigyn is Loki's second wife. The first wife was Angerboda, and there was another, a sort of girlfriend, but that is a subject for another video only about Loki. Well, there was another question, if the Norse gods existed in prehistoric times. Well, no, the first mentions of Norse gods come from the Iron Age in archaeological excavations. In this video I talk about the ancestors of the Norse gods, the kind of deities that were worshipped during prehistoric times, and I use the Norse gods as examples of the type of deities that were worshipped during prehistoric times. Well, some people said that they couldn't understand my voice, either because I mispronounced something, or it's my accent, or maybe it's just the sound. But for that you can click on the icon of the subtitles, because I always create subtitles and it gives me a lot of work. And I should stop talking because I'm just giving a lot of trouble to my future self in creating a lot of subtitles. Try to subtitle this future self. There was another point which I find very helpful to me. What the bloody hell? Well, as I was saying, a very helpful feedback. Some people couldn't understand me because of the music in the background. It distracts them and it's annoying. And yes, that's right. So please, Mr. Thorstein, if you would be so kind to turn off the music.
Oh yes, my pleasure!
We ended the previous video in the Mesolithic era, which marks the end of the Ice Age and the beginning of the agriculture revolution. So the last god I mentioned was Thor, the one who brought safety, who brought fire.
Yes, fire!
Jesus Christ, Mr. Thorstein, put it up! Fire led people to safety. Fire was the element to bring illumination, which led people to gather in certain areas. People started to cook their meat and to make pottery. All this fire revolution led people to create the first sedentary communities. Also, humankind noticed that edible plants could be grown from seeds. People start sowing, which led to the creation of the first primitive fields. From there, wild ranges of fertile land were being cultivated. And not only plants were domesticated, but also animals such as pigs, cows, sheep and goats. In this video we left the Mesolithic period behind, and now we start in the Neolithic period. So the Neolithic era is defined by agriculture, domesticated animals and plants, and the creation of settlements and pottery. With this being said, the first farmers chose the most fertile areas close to rivers to create their settlements. Now, in terms of gods worshipped during the Neolithic period, and whose attributes are very similar to Norse gods, one of the first deities to be worshipped during this time might have been one similar to the goddess Nerthus. Well, Nerthus might have been one of the very first goddesses to be worshipped by these first farmers. She is the goddess of fertility, the goddess of rivers, springs, lakes, and sacred waters. Now, as I have told in the previous video, during the Paleolithic and the Mesolithic, fertility wasn't something to be praised. But now, during the Neolithic period, fertility is the most important thing for these farmers. For our ancestors, farming was done near rivers for obvious reasons, and certain plants enriched the soils. So everything goes back to this, or goes around this, the fertility of the land. So the Neolithic is the period for all sorts of fertility deities. Now, the fertility of the land isn't just about the land itself and the water on earth. It's also about other elements, other external elements of nature. So another deity to be worshipped during this time was probably a deity very similar to the god Freyr, the god associated with rain, sunlight, the fertility of the land, and the fertility of animals, plants, and humans. Now, unlike the Paleolithic period, where food was scarce and the communities were smaller to prevent starvation, the Neolithic period is the complete opposite. The communities increased, the population of the world increased because we could create food. So now our ancestors were concerned with fertility, and not only with water and the fertility of the soils, but also what came from the skies, rain, sunlight, and the weather in general. So we go from worshipping Nerthus, who is the personification of the fertility of the land, all the way to Freyr, who is the representation of the elements of the earth with the elements of the sky, which combined give the fertility our ancestors wished for. So now our Neolithic ancestors were not only concerned with the fertility of the land, but also with the sky, the weather, and this is where Thor enters. So as I have said in the previous video, Thor is associated with fire. What? Bad dream? I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Wait. No more Mr. Tico. So, as I have told in the previous video, Thor was the god associated with fire and also with humankind. And the Neolithic period marks the era where humankind burned down entire forests to give way to new fields for agriculture. So now we have fire as a weapon of destruction to clear the landscape and to create fields for agriculture. And fire also fertilizes the land. And since our ancestors were very much concerned with the fertility of the land and the weather, Thor was the perfect deity to be worshipped during this time, because Thor is the god of fire, and now he became the god of fertility and the god of lightning and rain. Now, in Norse mythology, Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, is the weapon he uses to destroy all types of enemies, but also the tool with which he fertilizes the soils. Now, this reminds me of another deity from the Celtic pantheon, Xúkelos, the good striker, the god associated with the fertility of the land, the god who also used a great hammer to fertilize the land. So, as you can see, our ancestors during the Neolithic period worshipped fertility deities and weather deities. And when they started to spread throughout the land, they took this deity, this specific deity, the deity of fire, thunder, and fertility, they took that deity with them, and during the process of creating new cultures and new identities, this deity gained other names. So for our Northern European ancestors, this deity was called Thor, For our ancestors of the mainland, this deity was called Suchelos, and for our ancestors of Eastern Europe, this deity was called Perun, although Perun is not a deity associated with agriculture and fertility, but his attributes are very similar to Thor's. So the hunter-gathering society came to an end, and the age of agriculture began. The new gods were in charge of the weather. The Neolithic deities were sky deities and fertility deities. So this was the Neolithic period. There was a population explosion, which led to larger communities and the creation of larger settlements, consequently leading to a society where more laws and regulations were needed. Settlements became more complex due to the enlargement of the societies and the creation of new structures to store the surpluses of agriculture production. Neighboring communities started to assault these new settlements to steal their food supplies, and this led to the creation of new defensive structures and new weapons. So by the end of the Neolithic period and the beginning of the Chalcolithic, which comes next, warfare was a reality, not only to defend one's supplies, but also to conquer new regions in search of new resources. And so humankind started to walk towards a new era, a new age, the Bronze Age, the age of forging weapons, warfare and complex societies, the age of the gods of war, law-making, justice and the gods of power. The Bronze Age will be the subject for the next video, the last part, the third part, where I will be talking about, of course, about the gods of war. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to watch more videos and the third part of this subject. All the links to my social media are down below at the description. Thank you and tack för idag!
Yes, this thing is real. I'm not bloody joking. I actually cut myself.